avoid judgmental, shocked responses. I think I mentioned earlier, my struggles with this particular issue began somewhere around age 5, 6. My earliest memories include memories of a lot of shame around sexual behavior. I began recovery in 2002. Somewhere in the middle of 2005, I re-engaged in some additional things that had happened to me and some behaviors I'd been involved with. And I went into a counselor who'd been a counselor for 20 years, advertised, dealt with men's issues. So I sat down and in the very first session I said, well, let me just tell you kind of what my background is. And I just started sharing my story. And for the first 20 minutes, I kid you not, this is what I saw from a highly trained, licensed professional counselor. If I had gotten that look when I began the recovery process, I rather suspect I would have left that session and never gone back because of the shame that I would have felt from that look. Do the best you can to not have that look. What someone who is being vulnerable and sharing their struggle needs to receive is anything except condemnation and judgment. Let me take a minute, and I need a volunteer who can walk pretty well. Would you be willing to walk pretty well for me? Mm-hmm. Okay, come on up here. I'm going to pull this out. I'm just going to ask you to step right into the middle of it. Right there. Okay, and pick up the end of it, the bend of the rope, and just put it around your chest or waist or wherever is comfortable that I can put a little pressure on this, okay? Now, from this point on, here's the rule. You may not touch the rope with your hands or arms. Okay? So no touching the rope with hands or arms. Okay, now all I want you to do is walk back to your seat. Go. Okay. I'm thinking he's going to make it. Okay, hold on right there just a minute. Now, if you would, remember, you can't touch it with your hands or arms, okay? Turn around to me. Take 3 steps to me. 1, 2, 3. Now, would you walk back to your seat, please? How was that? The last 3 seconds when I said walk back to your seat and you did, how was that compared to the first 30 seconds? It felt better. I'm guessing that was a little easier. We've got to encourage people to face the issue head on. A person who is struggling to stop a behavior typically wants to run away from the issue. Instead of running away from it, we may find it much more helpful to turn around and engage the problem. Deal with it head on, face to face. Give it the attention we need to give it. And then, when we've done that, we may find it no longer has a hold on us. Because as long as you're tugging and pulling against me, I'm right here. Now, you're making headway. You're getting closer to where you want to be, but I can really make life difficult. I can jerk and pull, and eventually it just kind of wears you out. We've got to be willing to turn around and deal with whatever issues we need to deal with. And once we do that, we may then find life is a lot easier to head toward the goals that we want to get to. Help people identify their feelings related to this issue. If you remember when we looked at reasons why we may seek the escape, remember in the last session we had the escape to chocolate milk here. Why is it that we're longing for this escape, this relief, it feels good? Typically there are emotions that are difficult for us to handle. Those emotions might be feelings like sadness, hurt, fear, loneliness. those things that we may need to deal with, those feelings may be involving a particular situation, an event from our past that we don't want to remember. Anytime we think about it, it may flood us with difficult emotions. So whether it's an event, a secret, we want to guard this secret. I want to keep this back behind me so nobody can see it. I don't let anybody get close enough to really know me, because if they did, they might discover my secret. Whatever the issue is, if we can identify those feelings related to it and begin to label, before I start seeking my sexual behavior, I'm feeling a lot of anxiety or stress, or I'm worried, or I'm really lonely, or I'm bored. But if we can label what those things are that we're trying to get away from, or I'm seeking that sexual behavior every time I remember that I did this in the past. Once we can identify what those things are, we may be then in a better position of being able to deal with the issue.